Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Make Love Easy podcast. I'm here with Joel, real excited to explore his world and angle and window on relationships, dating, intimacy, sexuality. Joel, glad to have you here, man. What's your story?
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, Lewis. I'm excited to chat with you. So, I'm a dating and relationships coach here in Austin, Texas, and also the founder of Hot Takes, Hot Dates, which is a singles event here in the city that I find to be one of the most fun ways to meet new people. And yeah, my passion is just having people in connection, in relationships, and really sharing love between each other.
Super cool, man. How often do you do the event, by the way?
Yeah, it's every month. So it's more or less once a month at Pershing House on the east side. It's a bit of like entertainment slash singles event. So we have some people come up on stage, share hot takes that are created together at different tables. So you come, you sit at a table with other singles. I give you a topic, and as a table, you come up with a hot take, and then one person shares that hot take on stage with me and a comedian guest host, and everyone votes on if it's hot or not, and then the winning tables get some prizes from our sponsors, and everyone leaves with tons of connections, some prizes, and a lot of fun.
Man, I've been around the block, meet at the mirror, conscious intimacy game,
Mm-hmm.
tantra speed date. I have no idea how I haven't heard of this yet.
Yeah,
I'll be there at the
yeah.
next one. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's a little bit less of like a conscious, intentional kind of event. I like to make things just fun and playful and easy. Like I think dating events, they just get to be easy
Yeah.
and fun. And that's kind of what I focus on. Make love easy code. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the big decrees for people that I tell them to take on is I choose to make this fun and easy, no matter
Hmm.
what it is that they're focused on. So
Yeah.
I absolutely resonate. And
Same.
when we're having fun, we're more incentivized to enjoy and create more easily, positive psychology, all of that.
Yep. I think we are our most attractive and magnetic and enrolling selves when we are in a state of play, right? Like I've been to many other events where they might be focused more on like depth and intentionality and stuff like that. And I think early on in dating, right? Like if I'm not attracted to you, chances are like you opening up in a very, very deep way is in our first connection. Like I don't know if that's going to shift my attraction level to you, right? But what I believe personally, it's like, hey, if I'm not maybe attracted to you physically, but I'm around you and you are actually creating an environment of joy and play, and like you're raising the frequency of our connection and all the connections around you, it's like, okay, like interesting. I might want to get to know this person a little bit more. And so that's what our event is all about. It's just like giving people the opportunity to like, hey, you may not be attracted to this person, but we're gonna have such a fun time that you may really enjoy the energy that they're creating within it.
Respect. Feel
Thanks.
good now, and then inspire people by feeling good.
Yeah.
How good you're feeling in your fun and play. Man, what's your story, your personal journey that led you to being a dating and relationship coach? Like,
Yeah.
start, how'd you get here? What's your training?
So I've been coaching people in emotional intelligence for about 3.5 years. And I was primarily focused on people in tech to prevent burnout and help them kind of manage their stress and their personal life. I was working in tech for about 15 years. And one thing that I saw was like tech and like very like online jobs where you kind of are never detached from your job. Like it's very difficult to create space. And so I found myself getting burned out, really kind of losing my identity of like, oh hey, who am I, what do I like to do? And so I started to coach people in who were working in tech and helping them like really build a life outside of work that they were proud of and that they enjoyed. And a lot of my clients in the first couple calls, they're like, hey, Joel, could you help me answer this text to this girl I really like? Like, could you, like, I'm a little bit stressed out about, I'm dating two girls at once. Like, what do you think I should do? Like, I feel weird. And they were starting to ask me like relationship questions and dating questions. And I've always been somebody who's supported my friends in dating. I have a lot of female friends who'd always want my male perspective. I have a lot of male friends who would want my male perspective having a lot of female friends, right? And so I've kind of always been in this kind of this middle ground of understanding kind of how both men and women approach dating and connection. And I just found it interesting because I had these like people asking me these questions about dating and I'm like, you don't like this seems really easy to me, right? Like this is like a very obvious answer, I think. And I found that people don't find it as obvious and as easy as I do, right? And so I started my dating event. I also had a networking event that was focused around play called Net Play, and we would play games in the park. And so I kind of had multiple in-person experiences focused around connection. And then about a year ago, I was like, you know what? I think I'm really passionate about dating. I'm passionate about people not being alone and not and like if they want a relationship, like they get to be in a relationship. And so I just that pull of kind of combating this challenge around dating that I see in modern dating and in society, I was like, it's time I got to do something about it. And so I kind of closed the door on coaching people in tech and launched my coaching for dating and relationships. And like I find it to be one of the kind of biggest social problems that we have right now that no one's really talking about. I mean, everyone's complaining about it. Everyone's talking about how hard it is, but no one's really coming up with solutions or having a conversation around it. And so what I'm trying to do with my content and with hot takes, hot dates and with coaching is like we can have a fun conversation around how dating sucks and like how it's hard and like how like maybe men and women aren't what they used to be, but like also creating some sort of solution or conversation to solve it rather than just complaining all the time. So that's kind of what I bring to my content is like, hey, it's gonna be fun, and also we're gonna do something about it.
Mm. I love that, man. It is so painful out there currently. I mean, people are staying single for longer and going without sex for longer than probably in the past like 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go to events hoping sometimes. I serve a lot of introverted, anxious software engineers, usually Persian, Asian, Indian, second generation. They're well adjusted, they're wealthy, they're successful, but they haven't naturalized or they haven't cracked the code like the Rubik's Cube of social nuance such that they're getting the results that they want.
Mm-hmm.
And so they come to these events like Tantra Speed Date and they're like, "Oh, I'll get matches." And they get matches and they don't turn into dates because no one's got email game and that's the only thing they walk out of there with really if they get a match. And so events don't make up for a lack of proper self-image or social skills. But they're a great splashy flashy way to have an experience of social and romantic nutrition from the opposite sex. So everybody leaves with this high. And so what I'm curious about is like where do you fall? How do you hold events and apps and the results people can produce there versus like old school cold approach or just being about the business in your daily life of forging connections?
Yeah, I think the thing about dating today is, and with events as well specifically, is like a attachment to an outcome, right? Where it's like, I'm going to an event, I'm going to get a date. This date is going to be my wife, right? Like it's like that's like kind of the thought process of it, right? And in a lot of dating, we focus primarily on, okay, hey, what is like what's the end goal of this? Okay, I'm dating for intention. I'm dating with intention. I want this person to be my wife, right? And like kind of looking through that lens. And at the same time, we are in the biggest, like the most lonely time ever, right? And people are starved for connection. And I think that's one thing that I understood at a young age that like well, I didn't know this at the time, but like people just want to connect, right? And they want friends and not having some sort of expectation or and like I have a ton of attractive female friends and my whole life since college and high school all my guy friends like dude how do you have so many hot friends and I'm like they're people and they want to have friendships right and it's like
Yeah.
I'm not going to hook up with every single one of them. That would just be, it would be weird and it would like not logical. And so taking that whole mindset out of the frame and you just see, oh, this is a person, a human who wants connection. And that's where I tell all my clients, it's like when you are dating someone, when you're approaching someone, it's like take all the expectations of this being the person or you getting rejected, like start with connection, say hello, ask how their day is going. And then if you start to feel some sort of like interesting vibe that you want to continue to explore, ask them out to ask them to hang out again. And then if you want to explore that connection into romantic, have a conversation. Say, hey, I'm kind of getting some interesting feelings with you. Could I take you on a date? Right? Like it's okay to take relationships slowly,
Uh-huh.
right? I tell people all the time, like you are in so many communities of people and a lot of my clients tell me, oh, I don't want to have to do more. I don't want to like go to places or go to events or they tell me I don't get out too often. And I'm like, you just told me you go on a walk for 90 minutes a day. You go to the gym, you leave for coffee, right? Like you're actually doing plenty. It's not about doing more. It's about who's showing up. Do you seem approachable when you're at the coffee shop? Are you smiling at people when you walk by them on the path? Like any opportunity that you're in, you have an opportunity for connection, and every opportunity for connection is an opportunity for relationship, right? And so, like, creating more opportunities for connection, then therefore create more opportunities for relationship rather than saying, I'm just going to go straight to the relationship. So, like, that's what I tell people is just it's okay to take the expectations off and just get to know someone without any expectation of them being a romantic interest.
Yeah, I love that, man. You inspired so many like side thoughts and tangents. Like I teach my people the distinction between attachment and commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Attachment is I have to have this thing. I can't be okay without it. I'm resisting not getting it. So there's all this
Mm-hmm.
pressure when I show up.
Mm-hmm.
Commitment is like, well, I'm going to roll with the punches of whatever shows up, moving in the direction of what I'm committed to.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone has every right to have any desire and to create any reliable means they want to produce results when it comes to that desire and to measure their efforts by whether or not they're reliably delivering those results. And what that means is looking at an event and saying, all right, did this do what I wanted it to after I released all my resistance and my attachment? Like, did it move the needle in this game? Which is a whole nother conversation. We can come back to that. But I love that you have this sense of people can go from friends to lovers. So it seems like you don't believe in the friend zone or you don't have any fear of it or concern about it. Is do you tell that story or do you believe in that story? This is an old school, it's been around for 20 years of people saying, "Oh, I need to express my intention quickly and decisively and boldly if I'm attracted to someone so that she does not put me in the friend zone." And old school Ross Jeffries, he would say, well, friends don't do that to each other. Friends don't put each other into little boxes. I'm only here to do whatever's aligned and nourishing to us in the organic, holistic development of our connection. And like, yeah, the fact that he was having to teach men to say that means that they were having an experience of a kind of power play on the part of women who sometimes are like, well, I need to feel safe, but they don't know how to say that, or like I need to get to know you. Like there's a backlash from men who are just like, I don't want women to control and dictate and dominate me in who I get to be or how I get to express. Does that make sense? So that's what the
Mm-hmm.
friend zone concept is pointing to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, does the friend zone exist? For sure. And I've heard from women all the time, it's like, oh, I only see him as a friend.
Huh.
And also, like, is it possible to get out of the friend zone? For sure.
Uh-huh.
Right. And like, there's, I hear it all the time with people telling me like, oh, I don't want to ask this person out because I don't want to ruin the friendship.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah.
Like men say that all the time, or women say that all the time, where they're in a community of people that they spend a lot of time with, they have similar interests in, that they like, they feel safe with, they feel joy with. And they're like, oh, but I don't want to ask them out because then it's going to ruin our friendship or going to ruin the community or whatever it is. And it's like, if you have feelings for this person romantically, I'm sorry to say your friendship's already ruined, right? Because there is now a disconnect in your experience and their experience. You know,
Genius.
I like this person secretly and she doesn't know that, right? And so when you show up, there's disconnection, there's not congruence. And so I tell my clients, like, date your friends, date these people, because there's actually an invitation for your relationship to be better than you ever could have imagined. The relationship that you desire so deeply, that you talk about all the time, there's an invitation here with this person that you love to explore something romantically. And what you're saying to the universe, what you're saying to potentially your dream relationship is, you know what? Actually, I'm okay with it as it is plateauing here, because I'm afraid that if we go any further, it's going to go terribly bad. It's like, well, what if it would go terribly amazing, right? People assume everything is going to be fucked up and wrong and bad, and they limit themselves from a potential of things being better than they ever could have imagined.
Right.
And, you know, in this world, if everyone is an adult, if you treat people with respect, you can explore romance with your friends and still be okay on the other end, right? Like, sure, could you ruin it? Of course, you could ruin everything if you were, you know, a bad person or treated people poorly. But if everyone is respectful and you are the partner that you say that you are, and you believe this other person is the person that you say they are, then I think it will turn out okay. It
Mhm.
might be a little bit awkward at some points, but it's going to be all right. But you're essentially saying, no, I'm okay with not exploring this thing because I'm afraid of it.
Yeah, I love that. That was such a beautiful answer. And the brilliance that I hear is holding back, hiding out, and camouflaging that you actually have an attraction turns the corner and has you energetically and emotionally become inauthentic.
Mm-hmm.
And so the relationship, like you, or the friendship is already like it's already messed up because you're not fully self-expressed anymore. And this is a perfect frame and match. One of my clients, um, he's attracted to a friend of his, and he found that he was negging her as if
Yeah,
to try to prove that he wasn't, instead of telling her that he was. And so yeah, the solution is to come out with and express.
totally.
And it's always a risk. It's always a gamble, a roll of the dice to see will she actually be into me, or what will occur next. But yeah, I'm hearing you basically say it's always worth the roll to see what happens.
Yeah. And typically, I mean, I work with a lot of women. Women aren't going to make the first move.
Yeah.
You know, like they're not going to be the ones that are going to say, "Oh, hey, like, do you like me?" Like, you know, I like they're just not, right? And like sometimes many of them are wondering. They're like, "Yeah, there's this guy I know that hangs out with me all the time, and like we have a good vibe, but he hasn't made the move yet. I don't really understand. I don't get it." You know, like they're like confused. And I think men are just afraid of rejection. They're afraid of, you know, sacrificing this connection at 75% for fear that they might lose that 75% rather than having actually the full 110.
Yeah, which goes back to something else that you were pointing to. There's in social baseline theory, we know, and we can look at Castaway with Tom Hanks, right, to see that if someone goes without hugs, handshakes, high fives in an agendaless way from someone who actually gives a shit about them for long enough time, they'll go nuts. Their performance, their focus, their psychology will diminish and get trashed. So, like, one of the great services of the events, and I'm sure yours falls into this category, like events like that. Is to provide people with pureed social nutrition. And Ricky Goodall at Conscious Intimacy Games, he's constantly saying this. Like, people think they want sex or they think they want romance, but what they want is actual connection, is touch, is attention, is communication. And once they get that, once they're full on that, they're no longer hungering for and hunting for with quite as much attachment or focus or intensity these other things that we've been trained and programmed, blueprinted by culture to see as the only or the primary means for the satisfaction of these needs.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to say that, well, I'm curious what you would say about that, like fulfilling your social needs first before pursuing romantic and sexual needs. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And from that standpoint, and also just from a standpoint of, are you going to be the most attractive mate? You
Mm,
are the most attractive mate when you have a support system, when you have your needs met, when you're not looking to be, you know, for a partner to complete you, right? Like there's these sayings, or these like silly studies around like dating apps, right? They're like, oh, this man swiped 2 million times on dating apps and he ended up getting like one date or something, right? And like, it's like, okay, you could look at that from a standpoint of, oh my gosh, dating apps are broken. Or you can look at the standpoint of, why would anyone want to go on a date with a guy who's swiping on his dating app 2 million times, right? Like get out of the house and go do something. You might actually have a better chance. You might meet your match, right? And so it's like looking at these things of, hey, build your life to where that you can show up as the most confident, the most magnetic, the most full version of yourself, because that's going to be the version of you that's going to attract the relationship. You can't, like, you can definitely get a relationship from scarcity, but you're going to create a relationship that's full of scarcity, of anxious attachment, of neediness. um and so, I tell people, keep doing the things that you're doing, right? If you find someone that you like, still focus on yourself and your friendships and your other things, right? Because that's going to make them want you more. That's going to make you feel more comfortable in the relationship. um yeah.
there's so many things that you inspire. I'm like walking through a snowstorm catching snowflakes. Right? It's like a little inner child having
Bring it
fun.
on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. This is good.
So I like to say you're not ready for interdependence until you're done with codependence.
Mm-hmm.
And like if somebody is so not in alignment with their purpose, their passion, their vision, their mission in life, that they are swiping a million times on Tinder or Bumble or whatever, like, yeah, they're trying to make up for something that they're either resisting and haven't healed inside of them, or
Mm-hmm.
something that's meant to come outside through them
Mm-hmm.
that would make them more magnetic and attractive, to have a proper energetic posture and poise as
Mm-hmm.
they penetrate the marketplace of sexual and romantic opportunity. And so, like, my question to you is, what does it look like, the balance between, because I'm sure you believe this, that no matter where someone is at right now, they're good enough now to receive and enjoy love and connection. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. And yet, there's also all this work we can do. Look at The Game by Neil Strauss. Look at Models by Mark Manson, right? We'll optimize your dress and your job and your physique and get new glasses, get a better haircut, maybe shine your shoes, whiten your teeth. Like somebody could feasibly spend many thousands of dollars and hours on that latter side of, let me work on myself. And also in my training is the notion that the ego will always want to work on itself. The ego always thinks it's a problem and that it's broken, that it needs to be solved. And if the ego sticks its head up its own ass in that way, there may be no solution. So
Yeah.
what do you see? What do you say in that realm?
There was a lot there. I mean, like, talking about the ego, I think a lot of, like, I think something in the dating world right now is like, oh, before I can date, I need to heal myself, right? And so everyone is stuck on this healing journey that is inherently an I conversation. It's a selfish conversation, and it's turning into a like a guard, a protection to the actual work in relationships, which is what happens in relationships,
Yeah.
right? And so everyone has this socially accepted way to recluse themselves from the dating world. It's like, oh, I'm focusing on myself, and it's like, well, okay, well, in order, like, you eventually need to start seeing if all this work is working, and get into
Mhm.
relationship. And like, most people who say that, most people who are working on themselves inherently, they've done enough work. They do work that's like their life, right? um but going back to, like, I do think that there is value in in investing in how you look, what your appearance is. And again, I think it also depends on what you want, right? Like, what do you truly want? I think men specifically we're being conditioned to like, you need to get the hot girl, right? Oh, if you want the hot girl, the model girl, you need to be a certain way.
Hmm.
But in reality, it's like those women are probably not the mother of your children. They're probably not the woman you're going to spend the rest of your life with, right? It's just like chances are that's not the case, right? And so like, how can you show up authentically to yourself to attract actually the person that's right for you, rather than trying to be somebody you're not in order to attract the people that aren't right for you? And like, I think about this all the time. Like, I have clients saying, oh, well, I need to increase, like, I need to cold approach women or all these things. And a lot of the time I tell them, I go, hey, there's really, if you go to a bar and you're trying to a cold approach a woman, I'm sorry, the truth is, like, based on your appearance and your look, like, it's not going to be successful. It's
Yeah.
just not. The bar is not a place where like you can just, like, you're competing with people from a shallow environment, and you're competing with people that are on a different playing field than you. It's like going into the NBA and saying, oh, hey, if I look the part and like I practice enough, I can compete with NBA players. It's like, you can't. It's not going to work. But what you can do is you can learn about the game, you can work on yourself, and then you can coach on the court, or you can be, I don't know, the person who manages all the celebrities and manages the players. I don't know, right? But like, I tell men, I go, hey, you're not going to be able to be successful cold approaching women at a bar. That's just the truth. But what you are going to be successful is meeting your dream partner, because the man that you are, the values that you hold, the way that you want to provide, the way that you have a stable job, the way that you show up in the world, what you care about, women find that very attractive. The women at the bar, drunk on a Friday night, they're probably not going to care that much that you want children and want to provide for them. So stop playing that game, right? Stop playing a game you're not meant to play. And so I mean, I tell men all the time, it's like, yeah, sure, look good, do your best to look good, but also focus on the things that actually make you a high value man. And for a lot of men, that's not going to be your looks. That's going to be your job, your security, your vision, what you want for your life, like things that women really care about, especially the women that also want to be in relationships.
Mm. I love this because it's straight talk. It's like brutal honesty. Like as if there's a relatively objective scale and score that a man might have based on what his net amount, like we composite his looks and his money that he's making, his fashion, all the things. Yeah, you're just not going to succeed at the bar compared to these other people who have all these other advantages. Like, I hear that. I trained in old school pickup, mystery
Mm-hmm.
method, speed seduction, the big names, back before
Mm-hmm.
I realized the bankruptcy of following bigger egos, because egos follow bigger egos.
Yeah.
So if we think it's an ego game that we're trying to play and win, we
Yeah.
look at people who seem more certain, more clear, more confident, have better results, and we think, all right, let me follow their recipes. When really those recipes were based on the mask they felt they had to wear in order to get good enough,
Mm-hmm.
or worthy, or significant, or belonging, or whatever. So before I went through the period of emotional intelligence and emotional fitness and alchemy and like just feeling my feelings, healing, allowing my heart to be fully self-expressed, I was getting results in those
Mm-hmm.
realms beyond what I could have imagined before taking
Mm-hmm.
on those trainings. Now the question then becomes, who's getting the results? If it's the ego getting the results, the ego is a bottomless wound seeking to fill itself with significance and attention and
Mm-hmm.
hits like crack cocaine from, oh, I got laid again or whatever. So my ego had to pop like a hot zit in order to come to the other side of like, okay, what do I want uniquely that is within my vision and my values?
Yeah.
And so I can happily say I've been in, 5 or 6 monogamous, like deeply spiritually and emotionally and sexually fulfilling relationships.
Yeah.
So I think what you're implying is like, first be honest about what you can actually achieve, and then be honest about what you actually want. Like
Yeah.
really, and how much of what you want was a programmed in blueprint that you picked up because you were reading The Game by Neil Strauss or following, certain people on social media who seem to be getting epic results. But I mean, like, I had a teacher, he would say, your desires are the result of unmet needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so if you start getting those needs met, your desires may actually change based on what you're receiving, what you're experiencing. So anyway, I'm curious what resonated or what you heard in all of that. I went off on a tangent there.
No, it was really interesting. And like I I think we're constantly fed information from like social media or content about all the things that aren't working for other people, right? And or things that are working for other people. And so we kind of understand, oh, hey, these are the things that are around, but it's like, what do you actually want? I have my clients, they can list a laundry list of things of the things they don't want in relationship, all the traumas from their past relationships, all the traumas from their friends' relationships. Like, don't, I go, great. So what do you want? What do you want? And there's just a pause. And they think, they're like, I haven't really thought about that much, right? I haven't really thought about what I want. I've just been thinking about all the things that I don't want. I've been thinking about the victim conversation, all the stuff that goes wrong. And so that's some of the work that I do with my clients, like, is really figuring out, hey, what are you even moving towards? Because if you clearly know the type of man or the type of woman that you want, then you wouldn't even be concerned about anyone else who is outside of that, right? If like you get burned by a guy or burned by a girl, but they were never meant to be your partner, like they're just obviously not the right person, then that's not their fault. That's your fault. I with women all the time, like, oh, I met this man and he was such an asshole. And I look at him, I look at like pictures or the dating profile, and I'm like, this isn't your man. Like, this isn't who you've told me that you want. And she goes, yeah, but I wanted to see what it maybe it like I didn't want to write it off. I wanted to see what it was. It's like, well, okay, what'd you find out? Like there gets to be some discernment in dating. And I think the more like desperate people get, the more they stop trusting the process. They stop trusting themselves. They start to entertain things that are outside of their actual vision. And then therefore they start to get muddy on what their actual vision is. They're like, oh, there's no good guys out there. It's like, well, no, you're just dating all the ones that aren't for you. And and yeah, clarity, I think, is something that is sacrificed when there becomes a lack of trust, right? When I start to lose trust in the process, I start to lose trust that there's actually someone there for me. I lose the clarity on what I'm looking for, because maybe the thing that I want actually isn't possible. So now I'm going to go entertain things that are outside of that. And I think that's like going back to the men at the bar. It's like, oh, I want to pick this girl up at the bar. It's like, why? I mean, like, if you want to have sex tonight, like, sure, go for it. But like, that's not the woman that you explained that you want to me, right? Is she attractive? Yes, of course. She's all women. So like most women today are attractive. Like, they're all very attractive, especially in this city, And also, you want to be in a long-term committed relationship. Great. Like, let's start to go and attract those types of women. And the same is true for women and men. Like, a man who goes to a bar every single Friday and Saturday is probably not ready to be the father of your children, like, realistically, So,
I love this, man. Yeah, I tell my people anything less than your highest choice is self-sabotage.
mm-hmm.
And once they get a clear vision for their desire, if they're pursuing for or settling for something less or other than that, that's energy that could be going into their highest expression, into their vision.
Totally. Yeah, I say the same thing. It's like every time that you entertain someone who's outside of your vision, you're sacrificing your energy for the people that are in your vision, right? Like, you're even just like from a lot, you're on a date with a guy that goes poorly, then you're maybe in self beat up for the next 3 days. And maybe you were around the guy that was actually supposed to be with you, but you were in a I hate men mentality because of a bad date. It's like, well, you shouldn't have been on that date in the first place, right? And now you're sabotaging the actual people that could be in alignment. And like, it's the same thing. You're sacrificing the energy. Yeah. So
Well, I'm gonna throw a curveball here
bring
because
it on.
such a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
I
you're so you I love like the frameworks and the studies you bring in. You're so knowledgeable. So thank
oh
you for that.
man, yeah, yeah, it's fun to just nerd out with a colleague on this shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, are you single? Is my first question before I throw the curveball.
I am single.
Okay, by choice or by chance?
Um by choice
Okay,
at
yeah.
this. I mean, I think everything's a choice, so it's by choice. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, every coach is
Yeah.
gonna be like, take full responsibility for every.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I am too currently,
yeah.
and um, man, it's been I like to put myself in the seat of the guinea pig whenever I get a new expert, just to see what they'll say, and
Yeah.
it makes it more interesting than your garden variety tactics and questions and like situations with people out there in the wild.
Yeah.
So I've been engaged 3 times to three
Mm.
separate women over the past 10 years. Now I look back and I see, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't get married to them. And they all seem to be avoid and attached nervous systems or have those. And so after my last breakup, I was like, all right, I'm done. This is it. I choose to have my next relationship be my last relationship where the love never leaves and where we can build a power couple and an empire together. And there is, as you implied, healing that can only be done in relationship. There's certain varieties of secure attachment that can only be achieved in practice with another nervous system. So for the past 2 years, I've looked at myself and thought, okay, well, cultivate safety and security and depth of healing and stability in the nervous system so that I can manifest and attract someone who's equally secure rather than being anxious attached and attracting someone else who's another avoidant nervous system, which is like sowing the seeds of your own destruction. You start dating somebody like that. Well, if they haven't done enough work to be available for practicing security or committing to security. And so I started dating people, a Qigong teacher, a relationship coach, a Tantra teacher. And it was just what you were talking about earlier, where my standards had gotten so high from an experience of unsafety and discard, avoidant discard by the previous partner. Like she would bring me back into her world and we'd be lovey-dovey and friends again and family. And then she'd cut me off because her current partner can't handle it, she would say, when really it's like intimacy's getting too close again. And that happened like 4 times. And eventually there was this like armoring up, this like red flag detector where I was like, all right, if someone seems like they're avoidant attached or they're not as responsive or as receptive as I'm committed to, off with their head, like consign them to the flames, let them go.
Hmm.
And so I look back and I think, okay, my standards got too high initially from pain and reaction to the pattern of pain from the previous partner. And then I also look at it and I think, well, where I started off immediately after the breakup was not 3 months of no dates and no sex and no relationship. It was 6 months telling God, hey, I'm ready for my wife. And as the years have gone on, there's two different frames that I fractionate into. One is, well, I just get to do more work because I'm looking for a different category of experience. I'm not just looking for another girlfriend. I'm looking for a life partner who's available, eager, willing, ready to commit at the level of my devotion, like that I can receive. And then there are other moments where my nervous system, my brain, my internal monologue goes into, I haven't gotten laid in 700 plus days. That would be really cool. I'd actually prefer, even if she's not my perfect partner, to have a partner to practice relating. I don't know if you get this, but when I'm not in a relationship, I feel like a first string NFL football player who's been benched by an injury after the Super Bowl, who's like, come on, I'm built for this. This is the game. Let's play the game. Like, I want to get better at the game by playing. And so then, I've also been studying under a lot of eight-figure Christian mentors who are just like celibacy, and then your divine union will happen. And I'm like, that is so far from what makes sense to me intellectually, Christianity. Like it sort of does sometimes. That I've tried to shoehorn and shove myself into that straitjacket and be like, all right, I'll just go to church and do what you guys do and turn all my skills and training off, and then God will throw me a wife when I'm holy enough. Like, fuck that shit. So like there was some coaching, and this is all teeing up because I'm curious what you would say. There was a coach last year who said, all right, well, you may still be in the game for this, but that same attachment that you point to that happens at events where it's like, oh, this person's got to be my wife, right? It can show up in dating. So just be with the person in front of you, enjoy what's available through the connection. And this person last year, they said, well, imagine that whatever relationship you do create, whatever sex you do have, whatever dates you do go on, that person would eventually give a testimonial to your wife about their experience.
Mm.
That's your filter for how do you handle them well and responsibly and respectfully, but also authentically to where you're actually at with them and with your ultimate desires,
Yeah.
so that you're at least building karma in the direction of that ultimate desire. And I don't know if there's even a problem. I built some real good context there, and it's just nice to have it come together like a jigsaw puzzle in the listening of a committed, like world-class expert. But I'm curious, what would you say to someone who was in the shoes of someone like me, like who had been without for so long, from those misaligned philosophies and from that pain, and also hungers for it, but also doesn't want to let themselves off the hook from highest choice? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. What do you want?
Both. But I've noticed there's been a degrade as I've gotten further and further from the easeful. Like I trained, I was telling my friend Chelsea recently, I trained myself. I went from socially awkward, anxious, introverted, autistic nerd to ladies' man, to then realizing, okay, well, that's a cul-de-sac. Like it's a great place to visit. It might be fancy and fun, but you don't want to live there forever. To like, all right, now turn on emotional intelligence, fitness alchemy. Because for so many people, their sexual and romantic needs that they perceive themselves to have are actually existing in the shadow of really unmet spiritual and emotional needs. So they're trying to solve an internal problem with an external solution, no matter what relationship or date or sex they get. There's still going to be that void, that hole. St. Augustine says, you have made us for yourself, O Lord, and our hearts are restless until they rest in thee. And I'm not saying the Christian God necessarily is the answer to that, but like a love that never leaves, a fundamental well-being Dr. Jeffrey Martin talks about, or samadhi like Shinzen Young, complete experience. There are these things we can plug into. I'm sure you've been around the woo people in this community in Austin long enough to where you've
Yeah.
seen people who are like, it's a real spiritual experience, or that person just took too much DMT. There's a range, and so that stands out to me. But so clarity for me is I want that, and I choose a wife I can build a life with, who's a perfect ultimate match to my highest expression.
Hmm.
But I also like I built this whole skill set so I wouldn't have to go hungry. And sometimes I feel as if I'm going hungry. Sometimes I feel as if it's the best decision I could ever make.
Hmm.
Other times it's just like I think about all the relationship coaches and all the dating that's going on, and some people, they don't have all this complexity added to it. They're just like, I want to have sex. I want to have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Those desires aren't bad and wrong because I also have these other desires, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's this. I was thinking about this earlier, right? And I think maybe like this is just my viewpoint on things, right? But we are so aware through social media and the internet of how we are perceived,
Hmm.
right? And how we perceive others and how our relationships are perceived, right? And I think we get very caught up on I want my partner to look a certain way, not necessarily physically, but like I want them to be a certain level of emotionally intelligent or I want them to have a business. I want them to like have a certain amount of money, or like have someone that travels, or want to have this desire to make a farm with a cat, like all these things already set. So it's like almost like, oh, hey, there's this puzzle that already exists, and I'm just the perfect piece to fill it, right? Rather than dating people that actually have the ways of being, the characteristics of the individual that will create all those things, right? And like I had a friend of mine who was dating this younger man, and he was pretty successful, right? He was a sales leader, and her concern was that when he walked into rooms, I want to be with a man who like commands the room, owns the room, is so confident that he is that person. And I said, that usually comes with time, right? This guy's you said he's 25. Like when he's 35 or 40, he will be that man from what you're telling me. He is a sales leader. He's batting above his weight. But to be someone that owns every room that they walk into, like he might not have that yet, but he has the characteristics of somebody that would have that. And so I think for a lot of people, I think in the conscious community as well, it's like I want to find someone who is so conscious versus find someone who has the curiosity to become conscious, right? Like who just may not have been exposed to these things yet, right? But they're actually that person who'd be willing to build it alongside of you. We look for someone that already has everything, rather than the person who's willing to be everything that can then create everything. And so I like coming from to answer your question, it's like it sounds to me like there's a little bit of an attachment, right, to this highest self person is going to attract. It's like, oh, I'm attached to it looking a certain way, versus like, hey, what if your highest self is actually creating something that you actually have no idea what it could be. You're like, it's not even in
Radar screen.
your
Yeah.
sphere. Yeah. Like you don't even know because you haven't even thought about it, because it's not, you don't even know that it's possible yet. Right. And so finding somebody and like starting to build connection with them and being honest and authentic and what your desires are, and hoping that they are honest and authentic with you, so that you can then create something completely new versus trying to create the thing that you think you're supposed to create. And I think like that's that's exciting to me. That's where I tell people all the time. It's like, start with connection. You never know what's going to come from it, right? Like if you're not attracted to this person, who cares? You don't have to marry them tomorrow, but like there's something available for you there, because the chances of you and this other person ending up at this coffee shop on a floating rock with 8 billion people, it's a pretty low likelihood that happened, right? So like, why not see what the reason is? And that's, I mean, for me personally, it's led to incredible abundance in friendships and community and business opportunities. People ask me, how do you know so many people? Or like, how do you, it's just, I say hello to people. If I recognize somebody, I say, hey, I recognize you. My name's Joel, right? Like I explore what's available to me, even if it might not be this thing that I expected it to be, which is a relationship or sex or whatever it is.
Yeah, you've got genius in this capacity to be in the free flow of receiving and enjoying connection,
Mm.
whatever angle, at whatever frame, whatever level, without attachment or expectation. And it sounds like you've also built in a trust that you will receive what is most meant for you, when and how and in what way it's meant for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I very much trust the process. I used to not trust anyone or anything. It was a lot of work that I've done to get there. Um, but there is nothing in my life that essentially to this point tells me that it's not going to work out, right? There's a Ariana Huffington, her famous line of, she's gone through horrific things in life, and she was interviewed and said, hey, how did you get through that? A divorce, losing her selling your business, all these things. And she said, I believe that life is rigged in my favor, right? No matter what happens to me, life is rigged in my favor. And so if you believe that and know that, okay, hey, if I go up to this girl and I get rejected, amazing. Like that, like perfect. It's life's rigged in my favor, and nothing's gonna happen to me. And bringing that level of trust, that level of confidence, that level of assurance, like again, then that's the type of man that women want to be around, right? That's the type of woman that men want to be around. It's really a win-win all in every way.
Man, there's so much. We might go a little over if you're open to
I
it.
got time.
Okay, cool. Because I mean this is so fun.
Yeah.
I like to say it's all about the energy, and that people don't know what they're capable of when they get their energy right, their alignment right, their confidence shoots up, their magnetism shoots up. So in the past, I would emphasize, possibly overemphasize, the extent to which mindset and self-belief and confidence could carry the day in terms of attracting ideal partners. And so I'm curious what for you is the balance between the kind of mindsets we were just detailing and pointing to, life is rigged in your favor, for example,
Hmm.
versus outer game. So the inner game, outer game thing.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on how to
Yeah.
balance that? What to emphasize?
I mean, it's not lost on me, right, that I am a 6'1" conventionally attractive man, right? Like it would I understand that, right? So some things that I say come from my personal life experience, and you can say, "Oh, Joel, you know you don't understand," blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I get that. I understand that, and also like I was always 6'1", but like I wasn't always I looked much different in my 20s, right? And I had different outcomes. And I started to make new decisions. I started to focus on my health and working out. I stopped drinking. I increased my self-worth. I understood that that I had the potential to create more than just a 9 to 5 job that I didn't really find value in, right? Like those, I think the shifting the core beliefs allowed me to then shift the physical parts of me, right? It allowed me to say, oh, hey, Joel, you can go work out, stop drinking, right? Like you can do things differently. It's okay. You have the power to create whatever you want to create. Um, and so like my secret like superpower, not I guess it's not that secret because I talk about it all the time, but my superpower is like playfulness,
Hmm.
right? Like I bring a level of playfulness while still being rooted in like adult maturity and leadership. And that is an energy that most people don't get enough of, right? And that's what I bring to my events, and that's what I coach my students into. It's like it's okay to just have some fun, like on a first date. Sure, you can regulate your nervous system, you can do the breaths, you can check in with your body, you can root your feet on the floor, but like it's a first freaking date. Just have some fun, enjoy yourself. Like that is what's going to create a second date, and so I'm like kind of on a tangent at the moment, but I think that mindset matters. And also like I think the mindset, it doesn't matter if there's no committed action on the other side of it. Like sure, you can believe life's rigged in your favor, but if you do nothing about it, then like is it really, right? If you don't
Yeah.
take risks, then what's the point of knowing that life is rigged in your favor if you're not going to take risks?
Uh-huh.
So
100%, man. And it sounds like you're a popular guy in the background.
I know, I'm so sorry, I'm trying to get out of this.
That's okay.
I don't
Um,
know how. Yeah.
I also loved how when you said regulate, it almost I grew up Catholic, so it almost looked like the sign of the cross.
Oh yeah, maybe
Oh,
it
I
did.
need to
I'm
do it the
Jewish,
right
so I
way.
do things that are, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man.
And then the counterpoint to that, like, oh, I need to regulate and breathe and all this other stuff, get into a high rah-rah state of energy or whatever is however you are works or could work. If you start from that
Hmm.
context, more will be available to you. Now, it won't make you into a 6'1" attractive man necessarily, but it will expand your capacity. So it's worth starting there. And then it becomes this dialectic and this pendulum swing between mindset, energy, belief, inner game, and outer game work, like action, and then how can I refine these pieces? And yeah, I get you also. Like when I go to authentic relating games, I have a set of very particular skills that were built through cold approach pickup
Mm-hmm.
through social dynamic sensitivity and interactions at a high level over long years that other people don't have.
Yeah,
I get results that other people don't
yeah,
because I'm coming to the game with different advantages or different skills. And I
totally.
guess it's a unique calculation per person where they're at and what they need. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like, it really comes down to a self-confidence thing, right? It's like, do you believe that you are still going to be an incredible partner, even though you don't look or like how you think you should look, or you're not as tall as that you think you should be tall? It's like, if you're bringing that level of like, you know, scarcity and lacking confidence, it's like, oh, I'm going to ask this girl, but I know she wishes I was somebody else. It's like, well,
Yeah.
if you think that, then yeah, she's going to, right? She probably wishes that you were a confident man, right? Like not one that looked different. It's just bringing a different type of energy. And I think once a man, or like mostly men, it's like once you realize that, oh yeah, you are everything that you need to be. I'm sorry about this. You're everything that you need to be. Like that is attractive. That's the energy that works, right? And it, it's it's so interesting because I have this belief, right? And I shared this today with my clients and on a call. It's like if I get rejected, I don't think, oh my gosh, I can't believe like what's wrong with me? Like why'd she reject me? I think to myself, that person has pretty poor judgment. You know,
Bad
like
taste.
I'm
Doesn't have good taste. Yeah.
yeah, like that's their loss, you know, because I know what I bring. Like at the very least, we would have had a nice date, you know, like we would have spent like an hour and a half together. That would have been pretty fun at the very least,
Yeah.
you know. And so I don't think, oh, there's something wrong with me. I think, oh, there's something wrong with them in their decision making. So I think bringing that level of security, that level of confidence, that level of belief in yourself like shifts what you are what you're bringing to the interaction and the relationship.
Mm, 100%. It becomes your center of gravity, and everything else
Mm-hmm.
creates and orchestrates and organizes around that. Um, to go back to some thoughts you inspired, I've manifested women who are better than I could have imagined. Multiple times I've had that on my vision board. So letting go of our attachment to the image of who we're looking for and how much training they have to have.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also, anything is possible or negotiable through a conversation. So you get somebody who's willing, who's curious, who's available for personal growth mindset. You can train them in the distinctions that you want to build a relationship through. I'm actually doing that right now as a relationship coach, intimacy embodiment coach, and she was like, I just want to be friends. And I was like, all right. And then we met up, and I was like, by the way, you should know that my last several relationships came after they decided they just wanted to be friends. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, that's me too. So then there was this open, fertile channel for like flirtation and exchange of energy within the, hey, we're just friends right now. So
Yeah.
like, I kind of imploded the friend zone, is
Yeah.
what I call it. And so we train other people on how to treat us by how we treat ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't negotiate towards an ultimate relationship, but I was like, hey, I want to download into you like thousands of dollars worth of relationship modality for free, because I think you'd love it as a fellow nerd in this stuff. And then in the back of my head, I'm thinking, and also because like it would make our relationship better if we ever were in one.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, like, you're right. We need so much less than we think or have made up or storied that we need in
Mm-hmm.
partners.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I read an article. There are 100 million more single people than if coupling rates stayed the same in 2017, right? So like, there's just more single people. Everyone is single, right? Everyone want and many of those people claim they want to be in relationship, right? And so like, if that is true, then chances are the single person that you're meeting wants to be in a relationship, right? And they might not know if it's with you or not in this moment. They probably think it's not because if there's probably a trauma or fear around being in a relationship in general. But like knowing that, hey, if we are living in the most lonely time, people are starved for connection. Chances are this person, this woman, this man, they want connection. Why not me? Right? Why would I rob that person of the connection that they want because I'm afraid of that I'm going to get rejected or I make it about me, right? And so it's just like it's opening the door and knowing that hey, this person wants to connect with someone or something, connect with them, right? And then see where you go from there.
That's so much genius. I have to celebrate it. Like
Thank you.
it was so like radical and rambunctious. Like, don't deprive them of the connection that they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
Uplift them and
Yeah.
make your bid for connection. Offer who you are and what you got.
Mm-hmm.
And even if it doesn't turn out in any particular direction, it is a benefit to them.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. There's this, yeah, like we I think with so the amount of content that we are showed every single day, there's all these different viewpoints of like, oh, women like to be approached, women don't like to be approached, men like when women approach, like there's you could have 8 billion different opinions, right? And so like I tell my clients to not worry about what other people are experiencing, right? Just focus on you and your own experience, right? If 70% of men are a certain way, my delusional mindset is like, well, I'm not like most men, so I'm probably not like I that statistic has nothing to do with me because I'm not like most people. I'm just myself, right? And so like all I care about is my own personal experiences. I don't really care what other people's experiences are because they're not mine. And I try and get my clients to see that. It's like, hey, I get that it's hard for some people, but doesn't mean it has to be hard for you.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So genius. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you. Like, you're opening so many doors and connecting so many dots between pieces that I know and maybe haven't been focused on lately or emphasizing. Because you obsess over training, you take all these workshops and whatnot, and there's more floating around in these heads than has ever been said or connected dots between.
Yeah.
So where your genius, I may say, like sparked me was a couple ways. Like, none of those stories that people tell about men are this way or women are this way, none of them bear ultimate weight empirically. You just look at meta-analyses, and all we have are statistical correlations that bore over this certain population. Even psychology and science is a story, and we aren't going to be able to test or interview. People aren't even going to consent to interviewing all of humanity at once.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then what are we left with? Well, ultimately, whatever we're saying to ourselves, whatever we're telling ourselves is a story. So let's make up a frame that actually empowers and supports us, so long as it's not perpendicular to the obvious, evident, available truth to
Of
whatever degree we
course.
have access to that.
Yeah. Of
Like
course.
that's like a meta, that's like an upgrade to,
Yeah.
to inner
Totally.
game right there.
If they women don't want to get approached, I go, you just made that up. That's not a real
Know
thing.
that
Like
about this
you don't know
woman.
that about you
You
don't know
can't know
that
that
to be
about
true.
this woman.
Exactly. And yeah, it's and so yeah, I tell people it's like really get clear on what you want. And then, going back to the beginning of commitment versus attachment, be committed as hell to creating it. Do whatever it's going to take, again, within the realms of what's socially acceptable. But like if you want something, you are the author of your life. You can create anything, right? And so like if you want a relationship, go do it. Go try it out. Go date different people. Go explore different things. Go challenge your own beliefs. Challenge what you think. I had a client recently. She went on a date with somebody, and she was like, it was a little bit of awkwardness, and she's like, it wasn't really the usual like chemistry that I have in this, and she's like, I don't really know about it, and I go, well, is he the kind of guy that you would like to be in a relationship with? She goes, yeah, he's like really great. I go, well, he was probably just nervous. Like, you are a gorgeous, successful woman. He was probably nervous on the date, so it probably gave him some nerves. Like, if you think he is the person you want to be in a relationship with, you get to give him another chance and maybe a few more chances so he can get more comfortable with you.
Hmm.
Right. Some people aren't just going to show up on a date and be Casanova. And the ones that usually do that are probably the ones that have a lot of practice and not the ones that you want to be in a relationship with.
That
Right.
was that was an earlier version of me. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like, I think it is getting very clear on, hey, this is what I want. And I tell people who want to work with me, I will work with you until you are in that relationship. Like I guarantee that I will work with you for free until after my 6 months. Like let's rock and roll. And so I pretty much hold up a mirror. It's like if you don't work with me, you don't actually want a relationship. So that's okay. But like just know that, right? Like there's very little downside to this. And all the upside is the thing that you say that you want. And so if you choose out of this, then just know that okay, you're not actually that serious.
Hmm.
So
This kind of makes me want to create a relationship coaches and professionals mastermind, just to put you in a room with these other people and see how the geniuses multiply.
yeah,
Because that little sales piece, and then that commitment, man. My job is to work myself out of a job. Sometimes I say
yeah,
to clients, like, I'm there to get you your result and get you back out the door.
yeah,
Like that level of commitment, that depth of I'll be with you until it's done. Like if you're doing the work, if you're showing up, because I think our highest choice of thriving is to be in relationship and to have depth of connection, not to be alone.
100%, like 100%. That is what I'm incredibly passionate about is I want people to be in connection. I
Mm.
want people to experience love. I want people to honestly have heartbreak, right? Because if
Yeah.
you have heartbreak, that means that you loved so deeply that it hurt that bad, right? And that's a beautiful thing. And I think our natural kind of space that we're in now is like to protect ourselves from that. And it's like, oh, I don't want a heartbreak. So I'm just going to choose not to love. I'm going
Mm.
to protect myself from the worst case. And what I see at my events and what I see in my clients and my friends is like everyone claims they want to be in a relationship. They all say that that's the thing that they want. And I think there's just a lot of fear that it's not going to happen. And so I think people are starting to prepare themselves for this thing not happening. And it's like, okay, well, hey, I don't want to live my whole life longing for a relationship. So I'm going to teach myself how to accept that it's not going to happen. And I think that level of like apathy and that's obviously in the antithesis of what they want to create in their lives. So that's not going to be supportive to them. Um, but yeah, I mean, I truly think as human beings, we are primal and we are meant to be in relationship, meant to be like, it's biology. It's so,
Yeah, and then culture comes in with capitalist, atomized, alienated consumerism.
yeah.
And then we consume self-development products that tell us to work on yourselves.
Yeah.
And then we end up on our own. And that combines with jaded, resigned, cynical recent trauma from the breakup or the partner treatment, or like trauma and fear around relationship in general. You're talking about if you approach a woman and she rejects you too quickly, whatever, like she might have her own trauma and fear. And I think, well, everybody, like their primal relationships, more or less, generally speaking, unless they're like super secure attached. I'm not sure if you've read that book, but that's like such a small percentage,
Mm-hmm.
something, and then they're all already in relationship and they have been since 18 or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So then like it's about dancing with the trauma that's in you and the trauma that's in them, effectively, lovingly, sensitively. So
Mm-hmm.
so how do we date knowing that everyone is traumatized?
That's a good question. I mean, I think we get to communicate it, right? I think like you get to really feel your emotions, and as the partner, you get to hold space for them.
Mm.
And even sometimes I have a hard time with this, right? If like someone's like really going through, I'm just like, God, this is taking a lot of energy. And granted, those people are not usually my significant other; they're like friends, maybe. I'm just like, you're weighing the result of like, is this worth it or not? And like, yeah, of course it typically always is. And if it's not, you get to let it go. But I think like the way that you get to, if everyone has trauma, then everyone has trauma, right? And there's like the relationships aren't guaranteed to be without work, right? Like our parents and our grandparents, I mean, at least mine, right? And they just had less options, right? They had less way, like they had way less back doors, right? We have so many back doors now, so many excuses, so many reasons not to. Like previous generations didn't really have that many reasons not to. Like they figured it out, right? Like sure, was it the healthiest relationship? Sometimes not, but like they worked through it. They gritted their teeth and they got it done, right? And so like what would that look like for our generation, like even with now the tools that we have, say, hey, we have these tools, and also at the same time, I'm going to make this work no matter what. Like, what version of you, who do you have to be in order to make that happen? I think there's too many back doors. If it doesn't work, they're not who you want. You just get divorced, you dump them, and then move on to the next person, right? It's so easy. It's so accepted. And I think we get back to this point of like, hey, what would it look like if it's not working, you get to try something new. You get to reinvent yourself. You both get to reinvent yourselves and approach it from a completely different paradigm
Yeah.
versus just saying, oh, hey, this isn't working. We've been trying the same thing over and over again. It's time to give up. It's like, well, try something different.
Yeah, yeah. So going back to something you said, we're on this rock, and of 8 billion people, we meet up in a coffee shop. Like, how crazy is that happens
Yeah.
at all? Like,
Yeah.
I look at and I celebrate love whenever and wherever it occurs, and like,
Yeah.
let's treasure that, let's cherish that, let's make it last as long as possible, go as deep as possible. And then within that understanding, like just like you're saying right now, I like to say people are rivers, not rocks. They're movements, not moments.
Mm.
Their process is not things. So if I can change how I listen to my partner that has been causing me pain, sounds like you might have done some landmark or some life spring or something like that. Yeah, ways of
Something
being.
like that. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that then what becomes possible is like we can seize the day and recreate whatever we see to be possible between this us and this person who chose graciously to open their heart when they didn't have to. They said yes when they could have said no, to quote Roger Dodger.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean like how much of your dating coaching shades into relationship coaching? Do you make that distinction or
So, I mean, sometimes, I mean, like I look at dating primarily, like most of my clients are dating.
okay.
There are a few people that I support in their relationships. But primarily it's let's create relationships, whether those are romantic or platonic. I do have some clients where it's just like, hey, I want to create more community. I want to create more, platonic relationships outside of the relationship that I have. And so I like to focus on people not being alone, right? And so like however that looks, like I'm all in on that. And if you're feeling alone and you're in a relationship, okay, great, let's work on that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is such a sad spot to start. They
Yeah.
knew me and now they don't, or they were with me and then they're not, but they're actually
Yeah.
here in the other room.
They're right there.
Yeah. So what? Okay, I'm down to my last six questions.
Awesome.
So we're almost done here. Um, how do you discern and detect someone's capacity for commitment? Like early on in dating, because that's probably my highest value. And I think it's a really sort of abstract, esoteric thing to be able to figure out early on, is this someone who's willing, able, and available to receive the gift that I am and to reciprocate the depth that I can bring?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like I usually can. I mean, I'm a lot of the time working with people who may not have done a ton of like work, right? And like you can kind of tell pretty easily by just the level of authenticity that they bring to an environment. It's like, does this person know who they are?
Mm.
right? Because like in order to commit to another person, you kind of have to commit to yourself first. And so I I don't know if this is, I've been told that I have a pretty good read on people. I mean, granted, I am a coach and it's something I'm fairly good at.
Yeah.
But like, I can kind of just tell, like energetically, I just know like this person is not going to be around. I even do that all the time with like close friends of mine. They're like, oh, hey, I want you to meet this person. Like, I need you to meet them. Like, and I always say, I'm like, do I really need to meet them? Like, are they really like, do you think they're going to be around for that much longer? Like honestly, because I can tell it's like, I don't think this is going where you think it's going to go. And so, sure, I'll meet them, but like, just know that I'm not going to put a lot of energy into meeting just random people you bring around. Um, and you, and one of these, it's really interesting. So I think about this one girlfriend of mine, and she, beautiful woman, dated a lot of guys who just weren't for her, right? And she met this man, and early on, I said to him, I go, I know she's dated a lot of pretty awful guys. Like she's really lucky to have you. And I said that to him, and then he said to me, he goes, "I'm the lucky one." And I was just like, you're right. Like that's the level of intention and commitment and like presence that people who are ready bring. They know what they want. They are attuned to their emotions. They're attuned to others, right? He could have said, yeah, I'm really happy to be here, right? Like I'm like, she's great. But he just looked at me and goes, I'm the lucky one. And I was like, wow, okay. And they're married. That was like 3 weeks into them dating, and they got married. And so it's like you kind of just know. And it is, again, going back to the clarity thing. It's like, all right, hey, are you spending your energy on people that are not ready to commit to you? Right? Like situationships, they didn't exist 3 years ago. And now it seems like they're the only thing that do exist in terms of relationships, right? It's like, where did this even come from? Right? It's like, hey, if someone isn't ready to commit, like they usually let you know that they're not ready to commit.
Mm.
And so are you trying to change them? Are you trying to like convince them that they're worth committing to? It's like, it's not going to happen. If they're not ready to commit, they're not ready to commit. If they're ready to commit, they would have committed by now.
Mm. I love that. See, there's two different angles that came from that I received, which is one, you paved the path to your own inner knowing unveiling itself. So
Mm.
I don't think it's too far of a stretch to assume that you believe in intuition as well, and
Mm-hmm.
practice with it and have experience with it. And
Yeah.
there is an intuition we can trust, and that people can get that sense. And then there's this other distinction, which is like authenticity, integrity, and responsiveness. Old school Ross Jeffries. A woman is only a 10 out of 10 based on how she responds to you.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't care what she looks like, smells like, tastes like. If she's not ongoingly, currently in relationship, responding to you in the way that you most desire and deserve, then like, is she really your person? And so you can measure and notice, like, is she being vulnerable? Has she done the work? Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah.
So I usually ask this much sooner. What do you bring that no one else does or can in the realm of dating? Like, what do you see that no one else knows that
Yeah.
everyone should?
What was that?
That everyone should know. What do you know and see that everyone else should know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think what I know and what I see is that dating has worked for many, many, many years, right? And like people think, oh, modern dating is broken. It's like it, not it, modern dating doesn't necessarily have to have changed, right? Like there's this whole thing with dating apps. It's like dating apps are kind of fixed a problem that didn't really exist. Dating apps fix the problem of people's insecurities, people's fear of meeting people in real life, people's fear of connection, people's fear of rejection. It solved all those problems. It didn't actually solve dating or make dating any easier, right? And so like what I bring to the table and what I believe to be like my mission is I think that there are like I love content. I like big content. I think it's a really important part of the world today. But like there's men who are in an echo chamber of content, and like there's like the red pill world, and like women are all one way and they want a certain thing, and like
Yeah.
90% of men can't support them in that. And then there's the women who are all in an echo chamber saying, oh, men don't step up anymore. There's no masculine men anymore. Men don't approach, right? And it's just getting louder and louder and louder on both sides. And it's rooted in kind of like this funny thing of like stereotypes. You're like, oh, haha, men are like they're going to yoga and ordering matcha. Like that's so funny. Men used to go to war, and like it's rooted in this joking thing, but it's rooted in like a little bit of like hatred and disdain for the other person. And so what I like my commitment, what I see possible is like having that conversation around the real challenges of dating around men and women and like the opportunities and having it in a fun way that is approachable to a mainstream amount of people, right? And like I like to be funny, I like to have fun, but I also like think it's really important that we have this conversation. I think there are people having this conversation, like the conscious communities and things like that, but I don't know how like attainable and approachable that is to like mainstream people, right? Like the whole conscious world. I think most people look at that and they're like, that's not for me, right? And so what I want to bring is create a space where we're having a mainstream fun conversation, but we're actually doing something about it. I get worried that we are in a place of like 20, I don't know, 16, 20, maybe 12, when like politics started to kind of get really charged up online. And like we just kind of like rage bait each other. The algorithm just gets people so angry that now like it's hard for, one side to even communicate with the other. I'm starting to see those similar patterns start to arise in the content today between men and women. And my thing is like, hey, we all get to take a second here because what we all want is the same thing, right? And before we start blaming the other side for all the problems, let's actually take a break and realize that we both want the same outcome. Right now, we're in a blame game. Men are the problem, women are the problem, when in reality, everyone just wants to be in connection. And so let's start there. And so I think going back to like what I'm uniquely positioned to do is like, I think I'm kind of funny. I think I'm kind of approachable. I like to, be on camera and create content. And so I'm hoping to create that space where we can have that fun conversation, but have it together.
I love it. I so resonate. I so appreciate you in that. Defang the beast and the monster grown of the stories that are coming from this echo chamber. So targeted, tailored attack on that, and kill the stories. Let them go. So, how do we find more of you? And who do you like to work with? And what you got going on that people should know about?
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Joel Joel underscore Monteleone Monteleone. Everything is on Instagram. You can joelmonteleone.com is my website. Hot takes, hot dates on Instagram is my event. But yeah, you'll find me a lot on social media, and then I have an event every month. Just follow my accounts, and you'll see plenty of messages about them. And then I work with primarily women, primarily ambitious millennial age women, like 27 to 40, like women who've been kind of dating the wrong people, running into the same patterns. And I help them, again, like there are a lot of men that may be believed to be a certain way. I help you just find the one that you need, right? Because like it doesn't matter what all the other men are doing. There's plenty of good men, and I help you get the one that you want.
It's so great to have a colleague working in parallel from the other side. Now that I remember, it was a woman who recommended you.
Yeah, yeah.
And, so,
That's
yeah,
good.
thank you so much for your time, energy, and attention.
Thank you, Lewis. This is fun.
I love also your last name reminds me I had a sexual adventure at Hotel Monteleone in New Orleans
Yes,
like
yes.
years ago. So
Yep.
that's a nice memory.
The
But
carousel bar.
yeah, that's
Oh, I
great.
know.
Yeah,
I funny story. So whenever my family would go to New Orleans, we'd always stop by there and buy like merch from the gift shop.
cool.
And like theirs is French, Monteleone, ours is Italian, but probably very similar. It's spelled the same. And I went there for Mardi Gras one time, and I was so drunk, and I walked in the gift shop, and I probably spent like $700 on gift shop merchandise. I got like a a robe, some like bath towels. It was very funny, and I thought they would give me a discount because of my name, and they very much upsold me on a couple of things because they knew I would buy it.
In case you all thought we were trying to, product place for Hotel Monteleone, we're not necessarily.
Yeah, no, you don't. If unless your name's Monteleone, trust me, you don't need it.
All right. Well, any
Yeah.
very last thought, soundbite to leave us on?
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I think what I keep telling people is date your friends, right? Just go for it, take the risk. The worst, like you have nothing to lose and so much to gain.
Amen. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Lewis.
Those of you listening, feel free to like and subscribe. Make love easy, y'all.